So I had this question come in from a guy that was interested in utilizing Loop Elements Pro, getting Loop Elements Pro, and he's an Ableton user, a heavy Ableton user, and he was like, "Hey man, like, is there any way that I can run like Loop Elements, like one instance of Loop Elements in Ableton in session view?" and be able to like play different loops like when I hit, you know what I mean, like my when I click on my little song area over here or whatever. And I said, there's a way to do it. I said, let me experiment. And I got in and kind of messed around with it. And I was like, oh yeah, this is perfect. So I got to show this to you guys. This is a dope way because like a lot of us are used to this workflow inside of Ableton where, you know what I'm saying, we have song one. You know what I'm saying? Or, and then you do that. And then the next song, it's in Ableton, song two. You know what I'm saying? And then you got song three in your set in Ableton session view. A lot of us have been doing that forever, right? So I want to show you guys in this one. This is all done using one instance of Loop Elements, boys and girls. This is all done using one instance of Loop Elements. And I want you guys to watch what happens here. I've set this up so you guys can see it, and then I'm going to walk you through how I actually did this. So this is one instance of Loop Elements running MIDI clips here. Song one. Then you can run that forever long. That song ends. Then you can go to song two. Right? Then you can go to song three, which is worship. And so what I'm doing is utilizing what I call an element stack. An element stack is something you create where you have because you have 8 elements that you can use, 8 loops that you can use in this loop mixer right here. So we're utilizing the elements or the layers in a way in a stack. And if you guys are familiar with stacking sounds or layering sounds, then you'll be really familiar and feel really at home with this concept. I've been a musician for years, played in church. I'm used to having 8 faders on a motif, on a Chronos, on any of these boards that allow you to do like super layered stacks, right? Montage, whatever the case may be, you can layer sounds and you can stack and then you can control them with the faders. And I'm used to doing that, right? So I brought that same framework over into Loop Elements and you have all of these loops and I've created an element stack. So we have a clap. We have shaker. This is what I have in my stack. We have tambourine. We have perk. We have a element here. We have an element here. And then we have an element here. And then we have a snap here. Right? So that's my element stack. So they all are layered in and we're able to utilize those in order to build out our stacks, right? And so the only thing I'm doing is, what I did, I utilize automation inside of Ableton. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear out these clips that I have. We're going to start from absolute scratch. Let's load up a brand new instance of Loop Elements Pro. All right. We got her in there. Let her load up. I love this loading screen. That's just my favorite part of it, right? And I'm going to go ahead and just drag my MIDI up here. I'm going to drag in 3 MIDI clips for 3 songs that we have, right? And then I'm going to go to here, pull up my element stack. I got host sync turned off, right? And so these will just play. And then one of the things you're going to want to do, configure your automation. So you have to hit this little arrow down here and go to configure, right? And then you have to add in which parameters you want to automate. So I'm going to, as an example, add in all of my mutes for all of my channels. So now those are configured. You have to do that in Ableton, in session view. There may be a more streamlined way to do it. If you guys know it, please feel free to enlighten the brother, but that's how I do it. Add in and configure all of your automation, right? Once you've done that, then you can jump into the MIDI clip itself and go down here to your envelopes, and you'll see all of your mutes for those particular channels, right? So let's just go ahead and set like a BPM and all of that for song 1. So let's just say song 1 is going to be 97 BPM. The time signature is going to be 4, 4. And we'll make sure we set that up. And then this is going to be song 1, right? And what I'm going to do is literally what I like to do is I'm a performer, so I like to perform stuff. I just think that's like the coolest way to kind of automate things. There's a little thing up here, a little circle here. You click this. So I'm going to mute that. Then I'm going to mute this one. See which one I want out. I think I want the tambourine out too. I think that's a cool one. All right. So now I'll turn that off. That's a little automation record up there. So you can see how it's like doing this little mute thing right at the top, right? So we're going to go fix that. I'm going to go into the loop here. And you can see where my automation wasn't perfect on the 1. We'll just drag it back. And boom. Now I got that loop clean. Now that's playing at 120, but when I launch this clip, it's going to play at 100. And that's my loop for song 1, right? Now we're going to do the same thing for song 2, right? We'll set this is song 2, right? Just go ahead, set up our BPM. Let's just say this is a faster song. So the BPM is going to be like 127. Again, this is still 4, 4, right? And then we're going to pull up Loop Elements again. And we're going to perform this loop. We're going to mute and unmute stuff just the same way. Again, we press our little automation record button up here, session record button. Then I'm going to bring this one in, 3, and we got that in there. Now we just go in and fix our automations. That was pretty clean. I did that pretty solid on the 1. But now when I press song 2, song 1, Got a different loop because I'm using the element stacks. Song 2. You know what I'm saying? Then we'll do the same thing for song 3. But now we're going to do something really funky. We're going to do a meter switch. Go over here and make sure that our loop is tight with that. Make sure that the BPM, we'll take it down to a nice 87. We'll change the grid to 6, 8. Boom. Got that in there. And then we're just going to do what we normally do. We're going to pull up Loop Elements. I just like to perform. I'm a performer. You can, if you're a type of guy that likes to draw automation, feel free, jump in there, draw the automation. I don't care to do that. You know, I like to perform because it's just quicker. Hit your session record button. So now, come in. Let's just fix what we got. So now when I play this, 8768. And there you have it. So that's how you can literally like program with one instance of Loop Elements. You could create an element stack, and then you can program your loops out with different MIDI clips to do that or whatever. You can program it out with different MIDI clips. And so that's just a really dope way to do it. Now, you could get even more geeky if you wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Like if I really wanted to get geeky, I probably would have to go back and do some more programming, but I could come on this channel and add in another instance of Loop Elements, you know what I'm saying? And then I could build in I can drag this MIDI clip in right here. And then let me see, I probably need to do the same configure. Yeah, I'd have to configure it and do the same thing, but I could literally add in a clip right here with another element stack and be able to keep stacking across multiple channels. And I can create as many element stacks as I want and just automate them and build out an entire template with just element stacks. So I just kind of give you the minimum and the basic way to do it. And it's up to your imagination and your ingenuity to keep building and keep stacking this out. You know what I mean? So that's just a really cool way to just kind of have that set up to where you can have it switch meters, you can have it switch BPMs, create you an element stack, and you can just literally use this inside of Ableton. Now, that's just one way to do it. Personally, if you're running loops live, I think that the standalone version is the best way to run loops live. You know what I mean? Because you got set lists and stuff in here. You can literally just line your loops up for whatever you want to do. Like if I come out of here, that's just regular, you know, search mode. But then I got set list mode where I can literally just jump in. You know what I'm saying? Literally could just jump in. And the BPMs change and do all of that. I think that's the best way to run loops live is just to use the standalone version. But if you're nerdy and you're geeky, and some of you guys, like I've been there, I used to be like that. You have your entire ecosystem inside of Ableton for your loops and your stems and all of that. And you really don't want to upset that balance. This is a way that you could do it, is just utilizing Loop Elements to build in. And maybe you even want to use it. Maybe you're not that guy that wants to build your loops entirely with Loop Elements. Maybe you want to enhance what you already have. You can bring that in and use that element layer as something that really builds on top of your loops. So either way, there's a million different ways that you can use Loop Elements. These are just a few that I wanted to kind of highlight with you guys with this, and hopefully this gives some value to you on Loop Elements Pro.